Hi, I'm Khairuddin and I am a menopause coach. Now, for the last 20 years, I've worked with women through all stages of their lives: prenatal, postnatal, and perimenopausal and menopausal as well. Now, I am a Pilates instructor, a personal trainer, a nutrition coach, and I've got a few other relevant things related to the fitness industry. And lately, by profession, I am a menopause performance coach. I'm a neuroencoding specialist. What that means is that I show people how to program themselves so that they default to their best thoughts and emotions and behaviors so they can go further and faster to achieve exactly what they want. Now, why menopause? Why? Because it's hot right now. And why is it hot right now? It's because women are talking about it. In the past, menopause was something that women thought, I'll have to live with it. The generations of our mothers and our grandmothers, they probably didn't really even realize what menopause was or what the extent was, or the fact that they could actually talk about it. Now, here's an interesting fact, which I'm sure you know, but our bodies are, men and women, we have hormones that send signals to the rest of our body to do things, right? So for the female, you have your estrogen and progesterone hormones, and for the men, the testosterone. These are just the main hormones. There are a whole load of hormones that do all the work in our bodies so that we can live and do things. Now, when you got your period, obviously your hormones change, and everybody knows that a lot of women, when they get their period, we get a little bit maybe emotional, moody, and this may cause some feathers to ruffle, but that is the fact because it has an impact on our mood, our feeling, our breasts get tender, and all sorts of things. We get cramps and then we get our period. Do you remember, there are many shows, but one particular TV show that springs to mind is the Modern Family episode. I'm a huge fan of Modern Family, love the show. And in it, the family, Phil, who's the father, was telling his son Luke to tread carefully because the women in the family, the mother and the two teenage daughters, coincided to the perfect storm where all three of them were probably having their periods at the same time, which meant, and there was a huge uproar. And they said, you don't know how we feel and you don't know what we're going through, and so on and so forth. If you've seen the episode, I'm sure you know what I mean. And when we get quite sensitive about men, especially telling us or joking about the fact that they're tracking our cycles, or, oh, is it that time of the month again? Or walking on eggshells. Yeah, it is a little bit insulting if you think, is that all I am? However, there is some truth to that, right? Because it does affect how we feel and it affects how we show up. If you're feeling, it makes you feel emotional. You see an ad back in is it the 80s or the 90s, the Andrex puppy commercial used to make me cry. It's just a cute little puppy running around. Or you see something about a kitten or a dog, or, the tears just start coming. What I want you to take away from this is that this is normal. Hormones are changing and your body is changing as you progress through life. It's normal, right? But let's talk about what happens when menopause hits. Now, some women experience no menopause symptoms. I'm not calling them lucky. I'm just saying it as it is. They wake up one day and after a while they realize, maybe I am in menopause. I haven't had a period for more than a year. That is the textbook definition, where you have not had a period for 12 continuous months. That also can change a bit, okay? But the physical symptoms that occur to a woman are, you get vaginal dryness. So a lot of women don't want to have sex because it hurts, okay? And that's when you might start getting lube, talk to your gynecologist to make it, not something that you go, oh my God, I don't want to do it. It's like sandpaper. That's all I'm going to say. So also though, because you don't have those hormones, estrogen and progesterone, that are in your body or that are dominantly in your body, this has a knock-on effect on the rest of your body. Example, higher risk for osteoporosis, which is your brittle bones. You get the belly fat, which is why a lot of women, when they hit the menopause years, they go, my belly it's all surrounding my belly. You get joint pain and you get those hot flashes. So To give you some background, at 43 years old, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had early menopause because of the medication that I was put on, tamoxifen. It stops. It tells you to stop producing estrogen and progesterone, because my cancer was ER positive, PR positive, which means the estrogen receptors and progesterone receptors were positively identified to have impacted my cancer. So for about 18 months, I didn't have a period, and I did have hot flashes. What I remember is going out with a group of my friends, and these were ladies who were 10 years older than me, so they were in their 50s, many of whom were well into the menopause. I remember we were sitting outside because it's Singapore and al fresco dining is wonderful. All I could think of was, why are we not in the air conditioning? I am hot. And I was getting the menu, going under my dress and fanning between my legs because I was just going, it is so hot. And I love this video. It's gone viral, of a woman sitting, I think, watching a football game in America, and she's steaming from her head because she's so hot. Since moving to England, what I've noticed as winter comes, I am feeling warm and my husband is not. I have at times stood outside of my garden when it's like 1 degrees, going in just a t-shirt, going, this is really, really nice now. It's just great. So why am I still experiencing hot flashes? You know what? In my case, I don't really know. So as I said, the textbook definition is when you don't have a period for 12 months. Back to when I had breast cancer. I didn't have a period for 18 months, and then suddenly I got a period. And when I say I got a period, it was like the accumulation of 18 months of periodness that came. Another cancer survivor who was a client of mine at the time told me, Ali, it was like a murder scene. She wasn't far off. And I thought, oh my God, I've got uterine cancer, cervical cancer, all sorts of cancers. Why is all this bleeding happening? So I was then referred to a gynecological oncologist. So Dr. Tay looks at, the fallopian tubes, your ovaries, your uterus, your cervix, all that, your reproductive organs, to see whether you're going to get, well, he's an oncologist, so that's his job. So my breast oncologist said, why don't you go to the specialist, Dr. Tay, and he will really keep an eye on your womb area in your body, your pelvis. So I did. So over the years, I'd have blood tests done by my breast oncologist and my gynecological oncologist. I would get the same test results, as in the markers of where my estrogen levels were. My breast oncologist would say, that's it, you're in menopause. But my gynecological oncologist said, I'm a little bit stricter. I'm still looking at it. You're not in menopause yet. It was his job to make sure that he was really keeping an eye on things, and if there was any bleeding, that he was on top of it. So what I'm saying is, you got one result interpreted differently by two specialists. So just because you have a thing and it gives you a range between this and this, low estrogen, high estrogen, it's not as if you suddenly got pregnant, you do the ultrasound, you see the baby, you get pregnant, bigger, pop the baby out. That's a very positive indicator, wouldn't you say? When you're in menopause, though, sometimes you go, am I in menopause? I don't really know. I mean, I haven't had a period, but I'm feeling so hot. But then I get my period, but then I'm this, and it's so confusing. So, that aside, as you reach a certain age, between, say, mid to late 40s to mid to late 50s, that's your typical years for menopause. However, of course, there are younger women that get menopause, and there are also women that don't get menopause till much, much later. But the fact that all these hormones are changing your body, like I said, affects you physically, but also it can affect your sleep. Now, your sleep is affected by, perhaps you've got that hot flush, and you wake up and you throw the covers off. I hear a lot of women saying, I sleep with the foot out, so at least my foot's cold, and that does help. I used to just throw the covers off in the middle of the night, and then I'd be cold, I'd put the covers back on again. It was an on and off kind of game with me. And you wake up in the middle of the night, maybe because you started feeling hot, and then you can't go back to sleep. And you can't go back to sleep because suddenly the brain's going, oh, hello. Oh, wait now, are we? Brilliant. Let's start thinking. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't want the brain to think. You want the brain to go, let's go back to sleep, honey. It's way too early. That's what you want the brain to go. However, your brain's going, all right, let's get in there. What's going on with your life, girlfriend? Let's start talking. What's going on with your kids? What's going on with your relationship with your partner? What's going on with work? How are your parents doing? How are your in-laws doing? And is your partner looking after the in-laws, or are you looking after the in-laws? Let's talk about it. Are you worried about your mortality? Because remember, you have all that disease running through your family. And how your in-laws, and if you live in the UK, have you thought about inheritance tax? If your family, if your parents go, do you have to fork out the inheritance tax on their property? Oh my God, where am I going to get that 40% on that property? And then in my job, and I haven't really been performing well at work because I've been so stressed, because I've just been spiraling. I haven't been going to work because I've just been feeling not myself, and I don't know why I'm not myself, and I'm not confident anymore. And then I'm standing at work and I'm seeing these younger people behind me who look like they've got their act together. Or I see men going, give me that project. Maggie over here, she's a bit over the hill, don't you think? And then you're sitting there going, what if I lose my job? But I hate my job, but I need the money. But what if I do? Should I just quit? But if I quit, what am I going to do? Who would hire me? It's so hard to get a job. They'd hire the younger people. Well, that's okay. Maybe I'll just work. But hang on, look at me. And I haven't been the same woman that my husband married. What if he goes for that younger person in the office, or he sees a beautiful yoga instructor, and he thinks, she's hot, my wife's not. Midlife crisis for me, I'm a man, let's go for it. And what if he leaves me? Who's going to get the house? Who's going to get the kids? But the kids are older. Who pays for the education? Hang on. They've got university, but what do they want with their masters? What about their accommodation? What about if he leaves me? Will I get money? Because my kids now he doesn't need to pay for my kids. You see what I mean? I'm not saying that these are all the thoughts that happen at the same time, but I'm giving an insight into potentially what could be going through your mind. And if you're not in menopause, if you're anyone else, understand that this potentially is going through a woman's mind. Now, it's not as if she's lost her abilities to do stuff, but at this stage in her life, it's a cascade of things that are coming down on her, and you just can't cope. On top of how you're feeling because of the change in hormones in your body. HRT, which is hormone treatment or hormone replacement therapy, a lot of women go for that. And I am not for it nor against it. I want to make that very clear. I'm a big believer in you do your research, you do what's best for you. I cannot go on HRT because, as I mentioned earlier, my cancer was linked to estrogen, progesterone, so I don't necessarily want to put more of that to my body. But I am reading up on the links of HRT for breast cancer survivors. So I am curious about that. And also, some women might take testosterone, which also helps. However, I have also met a few women who have taken HRT where it's not made a difference. Maybe it's getting that right formula and going again and again and checking. But then in the back of your head, you might think, but I've read about how, taking these could contribute to cancer. So there is so much that one is unsure about. So that aside, what can you do? Now, that brain I told you that woke up at 3 a.m. going, let's talk? Do you know that you actually have the power of manipulating your brain? You have the power of saying, whoa, Nelly, take a chill pill, and we are not going down that path. It's really exciting how you can do it. There are little snippets that people say. Take a deep breath. Now, taking a deep breath, slowing down your breathing, helps you bring out your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. Because when you're all het up, that's your sympathetic nervous system, which is like, let's fight. I am on, like Donkey Kong. Give me that dinosaur, that T-Rex. I don't smash its face in or run away. So you always kind of want to regulate. And people say, really, does it work? Well, let's put it this way. The last time you were nervous or scared, did you go, that's terrifying. Wow. Gosh, that turbulence in the plane was scary. Or if someone jump scared you, I like to do that. I like to jump out people and go, ah, did you go, oh my word, you scared me? Or did you go, oh my God, right? So slowing down your breathing is an excellent first tool to just calm things down. But the other thing is there's so much, and this is why I became a neuroencoding specialist. So the neuroencoding specialist, like I said, works with brain in order to communicate with the rest of your body. So you can manipulate your brain into seeing things differently, into figuring things out differently. And when something happens to you, instead of your brain going, ooh, instead of your brain doing that, your brain can go, you know what? I see what's happening. I'm not worried about it. And neither should you. Let's do this. I know I'm simplifying it. I really know I'm simplifying it. But that's why I'm so excited about being a menopause performance coach. So I'm going to stop right here. I could go on about it. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. What I do ask is for you to think, does this resonate with you in any way? Do you know someone who you've seen this happen to? I would love to hear from you. Drop me a comment or send me a DM. I don't mind either way. But every time I've mentioned to someone in the last few months, I said, I'm a menopause performance coach. And they go, oh my God, I need that. Yes, I'm going for this right now. I need a menopause coach. So many women then say, oh, where have you been all my life? So it's there, but women don't talk about it. It's time we start talking about it, and it's time to say, you know what? I need help. So have a wonderful day. Live happy. And live your life like it's amazing. Because you know what? Your life is amazing. And you are amazing. Okay? Have a good one.